The Paul Leslie Hour, helping people tell their stories. And now, your host, Paul Leslie.
Hey, it's me. How are you, friend? Thank you, as always, for joining us here on the Paul Leslie Hour. If you would like to help me in my mission to get all of these interviews out there, new interviews, archival interviews going back sometimes 16 years, all you have to do is go to patreon.com/the Paul Leslie Hour. Your assistance is very much appreciated. So this is the fourth episode in the ongoing series of interviews with the members of the band Little Feat. Sam Clayton is this episode's guest. I remember recording this interview over the phone. The quality of the recording for the day was actually pretty good. Most of you know him as a conga player, a percussionist. Sometimes he sings on certain songs, and he's sung on some of the Little Feat recordings. Sam Clayton has a very interesting history. He's performed and or recorded with a lot of artists, ranging from Bonnie Raitt, Little Richard. He also was a member of Jimmy Buffett's Coral Reefer Band for a number of years, before Ralph MacDonald. I have not heard or seen many interviews with Sam Clayton, but I found him a very good interview subject. I enjoyed talking to him. He has some good stories. I would love to know what you think. Enjoy.
We're welcoming Mr. Sam Clayton on the program today. Mr. Sam Clayton has played on numerous recordings, so we'd like to say welcome to Mr. Sam Clayton.
Thank you. I'm glad you're having me.
So tell me, where were you born?
In Colfax, Louisiana.
What did you grow up listening to as far as music?
Well, in my house, we used to listen to a lot of blues, R&B and gospel. And then as I got older, almost in high school, I started listening to jazz, John Coltrane, Jimmy Smith, Sonny Rollins, Miles Davis, a lot of people like that. That's where my influence came from, mostly jazz and R&B and gospel.
I was reading that in your early days, you spent a short time with Little Richard. Yes, I did. And he was on I don't know, it was like a Channel 22 they used to have in Los Angeles, and they used to just play in this like warehouse and stuff like that. And I did. I was in this band for a while. So how did you get the idea from going from a music lover to being a professional musician? I was just playing. I was actually electromechanical engineering at Douglas Aircraft, and they were having a big layoff out there in the late '60s, and so I just went down to this club, and the guy had a couple of congas down there, and so I started looking at them and everything. And the guys, I told the people that I worked with that I played those drums, and they didn't believe me. So they asked the guy, could I sit in? And then I went up to the guy, let me sit in, said, you can play one song. I said, fine. So I played the song. He said, well, how would you like to finish the rest of the set? So I said, fine. I don't mind. It's great because it was a nice band called the Formula 5. But I don't know if you know Ben Benet was in the band on the, I think he's deceased now, but he took me over. Anyway, get back to this story. I went down there, and then we were having this big layoff, and the guy says, well, look, man, you getting laid off? I said, yeah. He says, well, how would you like to play with us down here, and we'll pay you under the table. Like I said, fine, man. So I was drawing my unemployment, and after I got laid off and working with those guys, and then Ben Benet says, man, you should go to a bigger band, you should go on down. But I was loyal to these guys because it was a club band, and I was satisfied. So they took me to Delaney and Bonnie to join that band, to play with them. So I went over with Delaney, and they put me in this movie before I even joined the band called Vanishing Point. And I played with Rita Coolidge, Claudia Lanier, Bonnie Raitt, and Bonnie Bramlett, David Gates, some bread and all like that. We just had we're doing this thing as a religious snake cult out in the desert. I don't know if you saw the movie, but did you see the movie? Not yet. Well, this old movie, man, this is called Vanishing Point. It's all about a guy traveling across country in his car and ends up crashing, Well, Cleavon Little and people like that was in the movie, and Dean Jagger. And so I was actually played in that movie with Delaney and Bonnie before I joined the band. And so I got in the band. That's when I met Kenny. And, as it went on, I was in the band for about 2 years or so. And they got angry or something got happened. Anyway, I got fired out of the band because I got hurt. I actually hurt my leg playing basketball. And Kenny got angry, so he just quit, and then took me over with him down to Studio Instrument Rental, where he was rehearsing with this band called Little Feat, which I had never heard of. I was trying to go to a bigger band or something, some band with some, notoriety. And eventually I joined that band. They took me over to Hawaii with them, and then I joined the band, and that's been like ever since, and then when Lowell died, I joined Jimmy Buffett in 1980, and I played with him from 80 to 88. And then after that, we started getting back together, and so Buffett took us on the road with him and would come out and open the shows with us to make sure all of his audience was there to see us. And then he'd do a couple of songs, and then he'd leave, and let us do our set. Then come back. I was playing with both bands.
Oh, interesting.
So I would leave Little Feat, on stage, and I'd come back and play with Buffett. And so it was like a double paycheck, which was great.
Yeah.
Buffett was paying much better, though. It was a nice thing, though. But that's sort of the way I progressed, man.
So when you started with the congas, what was it about congas exactly that drew you to them?
Well, I used to meet this girl named Esther Brown at dance with the Lester Horton dancers, and she took me to one of their rehearsals, and I saw this guy named Sabata playing congas, man, and he died later too from a heroin overdose. But I watched this guy, and it just like amazed me. I had never seen anybody playing these drums, man. I was just in high school then, and I saw this guy really play them. I seen people messing around, but this guy played the drums. He's from Brazil, and so I saw him, and then I started wanting to play. So I started playing on oatmeal boxes, pots, and pans. Went down to Tijuana and bought me one of those $25 drums that I thought was a big drum, but now I know it's not even hardly like a bongo, but just tall. And so I just started playing, man. I didn't ever have any formal lessons, but I just watched and played and just kept going like that until I, developed into being able to play something and hold some kind of beat, And I mainly emphasize myself on keeping time and keeping the time right, and everything.
So out of the conga players that are out there, who out there would you have to say, when you hear him or you see him, you say, now that is a conga player?
Oh, Mongo Santa Maria. I like Ralph MacDonald. Ralph MacDonald is a great player to me, man. And I've sit in with Jimmy Buffett a lot now. Whenever they come to town, I play with him. But I like Ralph MacDonald a lot, man. I mean, he's influenced me. I watch him and try to pick up some of his stuff. And Armando Peraza. I don't know. It's quite a few of the guys that's the great conga players that are on the LP endorsee list.
I had been wondering for a while if you and Ralph MacDonald were friends.
Oh yeah, we're good friends. In fact, man, we're real good friends. I mean, there's no animosity, that kind of stuff. I mean, there's nothing like that, man. I mean, when he leaves, sometimes he tells me, could I play this gig or something? If he's going to be going out of town or something, and he said something like that. If I was with Buffett, I could go and he didn't mind me playing and all that stuff. He always introduces me to other people. This is the guy's place. I took his place with Buffett. You know, he played with Buffett before I did. He was the original. You know, he was the Coral Reefer before I was. I mean, there's no hang-ups like that, man. We don't have nothing like that.
When you first heard Little Feat's music, what was your first impression?
Well, I really had never, heard anything about him. When I first heard it, we were grooving some stuff because Lowell he likes grooves, like to play a lot of grooves. And that's the reason why I was hired into the band, is more or less to maintain a steady type groove, as far as keeping the time straight and sort of keeping it going right, like that, just to flavor it. Then Richie does his thing, But when I first heard the music, I don't know, I just said, well, man, I don't know, man, because it was different, than what it wasn't like the real funky R&B and all that stuff until I got into the band, and then I realized that they played all of that. That was just what I first heard was different things like El Dorado Slim and, Day at the Dog, The Fan, and all that kind of stuff, man, they're not really easy songs to play congas and stuff to and things like that, because the time is so different, than 7 and 13 and all that kind of stuff. It's a whole nother experience. But that's it. That's the way it was, man. When I first heard it, it was just like, man, this is kind of weird.
Which I imagine a lot of people think that when they hear the Feat.
Yeah.
And aside from your performing, you have done a lot of session work from, of course, Buffett. Some of the people, it's just amazing. Freddie King, Duane Allman, Bonnie Raitt, Bob Seger. I saw that you were the one that played the congas on Sweet Forgiveness.
Yeah.
How did that experience with on Bonnie Raitt's album come to be?
Oh, it was fun. We've been friends for a long time, man. Gosh, when I first got into Little Feat, I mean, she was one of the people that was around. She and Linda Ronstadt, and I can't think of some other girls too. That it was an all-girl band back then too that used to hang around. But she was one of the people around that Lowell, and would show her stuff on the guitar, slide and all that stuff. And she was soulful, and just a real down-to-earth person. And so, she would let us play on her albums and things like that. That's how it happened, because I knew her, for a long time, and I've known her for a long time.
Out of all the albums you played on, what would you say is the one that you're most proud of?
Oh God, I couldn't even begin to make that distinction, man. I don't know. I mean,
there are a couple that stand out in your mind.
When I played on, I like Spanish Moon, the album of Spanish Moon, which I can't even tell you the name of the album, but I like Spanish Moon. Gosh, man. I like playing on Buffett's album, One Particular Harbor. Because we were in Tahiti, and that just really stands out, man. That stands out big time, because we were over in Tahiti and singing with the Tahitian choirs and all like that. But it's just hard to just pick one specific song, because I play, I just try to do my thing on every one of the songs that I play on. I'm trying to hold a certain pattern and stuff. I'm not doing a lot of soloing and stuff, but I have a certain rhythm or something that I play on each song, But I couldn't just pick out. I really couldn't. And, of the people I played with, like the Average White Band, I played with them, and cut albums, the first album they did, And that was like a great thing, because I just met these guys from Scotland and I used to hang out with Robbie McIntosh all the time, hanging out with him. Before Steve Ferrone, he was in the band after Robbie died, and even after he died, I played with him in Amsterdam and stuff like that with Steve Ferrone. So it's just been great, man. My experiences, I've just been lucky, been there at the right time. So I don't know, I can't just pick a favorite.
I read this interview that Jimmy Buffett did, and they asked him, what is your favorite rock band? And he said, Little Feat.
Yeah.
And it seems like he plays with Little Feat a lot.
Yeah, well, he does, man. In fact, we just did this album, and he's singing. It's not out yet, you know. It's 24 songs right now. It's a 15-song CD that's going to be coming out. And we played with Buffett, you know, Vince Gill, Dave Matthews, Brooks and Dunn. All these people are singing singing our music, and we're playing. And we did that down in Key West, you know. It's been going on for now about a year or so. But now we had a listening party when we were in Jamaica just the other day, and had a listening party, and everybody heard it, you know. Like, for instance, Dave Matthews is singing "Fat Man in the Bathtub." It's outrageous, though.
I bet this album is just going to be wild. I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, it's on Buffett's label. It'll be coming out on Buffett's label.
Oh, on Millboat.
You know, when it comes out.
Oh, excellent. When is it going to be coming out?
I'm not sure, man. We had a listening party. They didn't say what release date was. They were trying to say in the near future, because, I mean, everything has been done. You know, all the people have sang on it, and, you know, like Craig Fuller even sang with us. He came and sang some songs on it too, and everything. So it's quite a big thing for us, you know. So we're just waiting on Buffett because he has the Midas touch. He said we're gonna make you some money. He called me Mr. C. We try to make you some money, man. So just let me have this. He's singing "Time Loves a Hero."
Oh, okay.
And stuff. So he loved. That's his favorite song. Is "Time Loves a Hero." So he's in there with us. So he's definitely backed us and did this thing for us. And so we're now just putting it in his hands, you know, to do the promotion stuff.
And among the members in Little Feat, I know you probably like everyone in the band, but is there anyone in particular that stands out as one of your closer friends?
I don't know, but Kenny Gradney and I used to hang out a lot. You know, we used to hang out. He'd come over to my house, I'd go to his house. And Paul Barrera, because we were neighbors, you know, he moved into the house right next door to me. So those are the two guys that I've, you know, been to their house more than anybody else, you know. That's the two guys, you know. When Lowell was alive, I'd see him sometime, you know, we'd hang out together sometime too, you know. But that was two. But now, you know, it's Fred and I are pretty close. Fred Tackett and I now. Up to now, you know, after it's my Fred, myself, and Kenny and Paul. They're probably my closest guys that I hang with right now.
So how did you know, I know you met Jimmy Buffett through Little Feat.
No.
No?
No, I met Jimmy Buffett through his sound guy that turned me on. He knew his name was Ross.
Ross Riddle?
Yeah, Ross Riddle. You know Ross?
No, I've read about him. That's it.
Yeah, well, Ross told Jimmy that, you know, well, why don't you hire Sam Clayton, you know, like that. And Jimmy says, oh, man, he wouldn't play with me and all this band. He's from Little Feat, man. You know, I said, man. And Ross called me and told me about this. And I said, man, are you kidding me? I said, $1 is $1, man. I get paid. You know, it's about survival at this point. I'm not trying to put nobody's band down because of their music. And he says, well, can you come over for rehearsal? I said, yeah. So they were going on tour the next day. I came over for rehearsal. We rehearsed 1 hour. He signed me on, and we were on tour for about, you know, a month or something. The next day, man, and that would happen in 1980. We've just been friends ever since. You know, I mean, Buffett's a good friend of mine. He and like Ed Bradley, you know, when I met Ed Bradley through Buffett, you know, because they were close friends, and I've just been hanging with he and Ed, you know, at the jazz festival, just the last jazz festival they had, you know. And then, you know, Ed was up on stage with us. We played Jimmy's party. He had a special private party and closed Margaritaville and hired us as the band. And so we played, and then teacher says, well, since I'm paying for this, I'm naming every song that you play, so I'm don't even worry about a set list. I'll just call out the songs. So he calls out all different songs, and he and Ed Bradley up there and singing and all that. And finally, we start singing 60-Minute Man for Ed Bradley. You know, so because Ed was like a real good friendly person too, man. I mean, down to earth. You know, even pulled a joke on me at the airport one day when I flew into town. And I was waiting on my limo driver, and this guy comes up with his hat and everything on. And I looked at him, you know, and he pulled his hat up. It had my name on his chest, you know, and pulled the hat down. And when I looked at him, and he put the glasses on, I said, Ed Bradley, what are you doing? It was Ed Bradley posing as my limo driver. So that was just a big joke. But Jimmy and Ed and everybody, man, they were just great people. We had great fun with them, and that's how I met Jimmy, through Ross Ritter, and that's who turned me on to Jimmy Buffett, because I had never heard of Jimmy Buffett. I'm telling you the truth. 1980, I had never heard Jimmy Buffett, anything about him.
So what was your impression when you met him?
Oh, when I met he's just a regular down-to-earth person, man. I mean, God is like a guy you just crack jokes with and everything. When I met him, it was like I knew him already. You know, he just talked, you know, right down to earth, and we talked, cracked jokes, cracked up on each other and everything else, man. You know, pull, you know, jokes and stuff on each other, all kind of things. And it was just like I moved right into came back home to a family or something. It was just that easy to adjustment for me, man, because, I mean, the music was just very easy, you know, very easy to do. And so I just got right in because it was a party. It was always a party. I mean, he just grew over the years to like, man, I can't even believe how many people comes to his concert. It's insane. The parking lot is a party.
When you think back of all the years that you were a Coral Reefer, what's one memory that stands out, or any? And there are a couple, maybe any.
Well, I don't, like I said, man, Tahiti. He told me before, he just said, I don't want to take you to Tahiti, man, because I want you to be in the band. I said, what are you talking about, man? He says, you're not going to come home. You're not going to come home. He says, because, see, I've been there, and I've done this and that, but you are not going to want to come home, and I want you to be in the band. I said, man, don't worry about this. Are you crazy? And so he took me over there, and he was right. He was right. But I stayed 5 weeks, man. I had to get back to it because, you know, at the time I wasn't married, but, you know, it was like, wow, man, this is too much, man. I don't know. I want to stay here, man. They even offered me property, man. I was adopted by this family. I had 18 daughters, man.
Wow.
And it was like, well, that's one of the memories that stands out.
Well, what was I just going to say? Oh, what about Tahiti other than the 18 daughters? What about Tahiti was great?
Well, the food, man, just the flora, man. I mean, you go out in there and go out and see all the different kinds of vegetation and plants, beautiful plants. The water was pristine. You know, you could see so deep in the water, and it's just beauty. Beauty and simple. The people were real simple and down to earth. I mean, you own a motor scooter, it's like owning a Rolls Royce. A motor scooter. That's how it was. You know, that makes you rich. I mean, a $400 or $500 motor scooter. So you know, everything was. You own the world, man. I mean, it was just great. Like I say, the people were so nice and so hospitable, man. I mean, I don't know. I'm still impressed. I tell everybody today, man, you know, Tahiti, man, have you ever been there? Go there and check it out. But that's what stands out to me, just the people and the geographical location, everything is just wonderful.
So what about with the feet? Is there any particular memory that stands out from playing with Little Feat through the years?
Oh, I mean, God, it's too many. God, I mean, just a whole lot of things, man. stood out. Just playing with the feet, we've been a lot of places, in the world, man. We go to Europe and all that, a lot of places, Japan. One incident I know, one time we there with the wives, it wasn't my wife, we were there with Kenny's wife was there, and we were on this train, and we got ready to get off, and when you're in over there in Europe, those trains and things don't wait on anybody. When you're ready to leave, if you're not off there, the train just pulls off. They don't care who it is. So we got stuck on the train, man, because we couldn't get this big piece of luggage out of the way to get it off the train. So I'm stuck back there with Kenny's wife and somebody else, and they had to come and drive to the next stop by car to pick us up. But they did get us, because the train people called the engineer and all like that and told them, what had happened. But they just, that's one thing that stands out, man. That was like a catastrophe to me, man. I have never been in something like that where I got left because I couldn't get off the train, because there was so much big luggage, there's no porters or nothing. You have to get it off. And I was trying to help the ladies get their stuff because it was big bags. They're real, actually shipped bags that you would put on a plane and go down into the bottom of the plane. But this thing here was the train, man. You had to sit in the aisle and move all the big luggage out. So that stands out, man, because that was devastating to me, man. I didn't know what was going to happen. In another country, you don't speak the language, and it's just rough.
So you came back from Jamaica recently, and the new Little Feat album is going to be coming out sometime soon, I guess. Is there anything else coming up in the world of Sam Clayton?
No, we're getting ready. We're going to be going to Europe pretty soon. I know that. Sometime in March, we're going to Europe. We have a special private party we're playing on the 24th of this month in San Francisco. And, and then we're just going on tour. I don't know there's nothing real exciting coming up, that I know of, except that we're going to Europe. And we might go to Japan. I'm not sure about that, but I know we're going to Europe because I have heard about the dates already.
It sounds like you live a pretty exciting life.
Well, it's exciting enough, man, but I don't like to get out into I don't go to clubs and all that stuff a lot and all that kind of thing. I'm here on I have 4 acres out here, and that's rough enough to take it. And I wanted 20 acres, and I'm so glad my wife told me, said, you'll be sorry. And I said, you're right. I just got 4 acres. I had to buy a rhino to ride around on that. So it's not real exciting, but it keeps me busy.
Yeah. When you think about all the stuff you've done in your life, what do you think the best thing about being Sam Clayton is? Is
that I've kept myself to where I don't think that I'm still humble, and that's where I want to be. I don't need to be like a star and everybody has to know me and recognize me as this and that. I like to stay under the radar.
Is there any music out there right now that has caught your attention recently? Any bands or musicians?
Like newer bands, you mean?
Yeah, or any kind of recording or band that has caught your eye.
No, not really, man. I like Santana, that stuff that he does, and I listen to him and I listen to the Bonnie Raitt, listen to her stuff. But I'm mostly into like jazz things, that are happening.
So my last question, since this program goes out all over the world, what would you, Sam Clayton, like to say to the world?
I would like to say, man, let's just have peace and love and happiness for everybody on this earth. Stop wars. Just everybody should just get along, like I said. And again, that's it. Peace and love.
Well, Mr. Clayton, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. It's been a real joy talking to you.
I appreciate you calling me, man, and having me talk with you, because It was no problem. I didn't know somebody said it was going to be you thought it was going to be hard to get me and all that kind of stuff. No time, anytime, man. I mean, you're welcome. You have my number, so you can call me.
I appreciate it.
Okay, well, you have a great day, man.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Well, have a good one.
You too.
See you.
Bye.
Bop, bop, dealy, bop, bop, ba-doo, bop, zee, bop, a doodly, not. Bakshiki, chacha, kuka, baza, luka, baza, neka, poka, kera, go, da, bop, doodle, zan, but over dake, pati, yeah, zika, baka, puka, long gone, doodle, boo, goodbye.